So, good morning everybody. I know I said I'd be on, actually I think it's afternoon now, it's 12:10, and I did say, I promised that I would be on this morning. But to be honest, I had a bit of a lie on this morning, and then I didn't realise it was going to take me as long to prepare for this. Deirdre, you were badly missed today. So if anybody's tuning in, let us know who's watching. Give us a little bit of the weather forecast around the country, and even like what county that you're watching from. Obviously I can't see any of the comments, and I'm depending on Ben, my trusty assistant, is helping me out here today. So any problems or anything goes wrong, we can blame Ben. Has Deirdre tuned in yet, Deirdre?
Deirdre's here now.
Yeah. Hiya Deirdre, miss you like mad. Didn't realise there was so much work here getting all organised. So as you can realise, I'm working from home today. So things are a little bit different. I know the last day I went on live, Chico the dog decided he wanted to go to the loo and started barking at the door, and I had to leave. And then today, like, my husband is working in the office, so there's a good chance the phones might start ringing or he'll come out looking for something. So listen, it'll be all right on the night, as they say. So just bear with us and hope everything goes to plan. So today we're going to make, I was going to say Christmas, an Easter spring door wreath. So planning that hopefully a lot of the material that you'll be able to work from out of your own garden, or you'll be able to source locally. Because I do understand all the flower shops are closed, so it's not possible to buy any of the material. And so what I decided was, for making my frame today, I was going to use a co-hanger. So a wire co-hanger is something that most people probably have in their house. You know that way. I know they're probably not one of my favourite co-hangers, but most people have one or two of these in the back of their wardrobe. So you'll need two altogether, and with the co-hanger, using like a sharp snips or like a pliers. Now my dad's done this for me, being honest, because it is quite thick to cut through, and the scissors wasn't strong enough. So what he did was he cut, you see the hook out, so you don't need this hook, okay? So you can throw that out. And then what he did with the co-hanger then, when he was then able to kind of mould it into the shape that he wanted. And then on either end of the open piece of co-hanger, where the hook was cut off, he made a little bend like that, and the same on the other end, and was able to hook them inside each other. And that's what made the complete circle. So that's what I have here. So you can see, hopefully you can see that up close there. That's where the little joining is made. And then what I got him to do is, with the second co-hanger, do exactly the same thing, but this time make the circle a little bit smaller. So that's my second one. And then using twine. Now I'm using like what we call the hand-tied twine that we use here at the school, but normal twine would actually do. A piece of wool, a strong thread, or to be honest, anything at all would do, is I join the two of them together. And the plan will be then that I join them together on the opposite side. Now don't worry if the spacing in between them is not exact. It doesn't really matter. And I was stuck one day doing this, and I actually made it on a single co-hanger. I hadn't even got the smaller circle on the inside, and it still worked. So just with a short piece of the twine, on the opposite side, I'm just kind of tying a double knot over here, just to hold them together. So Ben, is there anybody tuned in, anybody watching? Give us a little bit of feedback, what's happening.
There's a few people tuning in.
Okay.
So we have Annette Wide.
Hi Annette, how are you? Thanks for tuning in.
Hi Janette, dry and cold here in Cork.
Oh yeah, well to be honest, like, it's actually lovely here today in Dublin. A little bit cold out, you know that way, and it's dull, but it's dry. And I think, like, whatever about being stuck inside the house, if it was raining outside now, it would drive us mad altogether. And the difference here in Rialto, with the construction closed down, all the works over in the hospital has stopped. So normally, obviously I'm on the ground floor here now today, but normally when we're in work, we're looking out the window at all the cranes flying around, like, working. But it's so quiet, like, it's amazing how quiet it is. So can you see that I'm just using the little pieces of twine there to join up these two circles? And as I said, like, it doesn't have to be exact, and it doesn't have to be real neat. Now, if you prefer, you could use like one of the wire rings, and some of you may have the wire rings that I would have showed you before on my online classes, and you could use that instead. It's just I do often mention about using co-hangers, and people then message me to say, what do you mean using a co-hanger? Are you using the hook to hang it on the door? And it is hard to describe. So I said, right, here goes, there's our frame. So there's my wire frame made, ready to make our door wreath on. Now again, if you've been watching in the past, I normally moss these up using fresh moss, and if you remember in the past, Deirdre was up in Glendalough, and do you remember that big lump of moss that fell into her handbag? And we used that for mossing up the bases. Or another time I was up in Deirdre's garden and I used a straw that she uses for her chickens. Actually, did you see the photograph yesterday of all the chickens in Deirdre's sitting room? She said she was out in the garden getting all the greenery ready for me, and she came back in and there was about half a dozen chickens all in her sitting room, delighted with themselves, doing their little bit of self-distance and home isolation. But I'm always mentioning that you could actually make a base using Q-Press. And again, it's something I've never actually demonstrated live, and a lot of people send me messages about it. So when Deirdre's chickens were having the run of the house yesterday, she was out in the garden cutting down, like your Leylandes, your Q-Press, your palm trees, this type of greenery. And this greenery is great for making up your bases. And most people are able to get their hands on some of it, or your neighbours happen to have some of this growing, or it's growing over the wall into your garden, and once it's in your garden, it belongs to you. Now, you could use, for attaching on your greenery, you could use your twine again, or your strong ball of wool, or again, anybody at home that happens to have reel wire, you could use the reel wire as well. So what I'm going to do is attach on the reel wire just by kind of giving it a few little twists here. But if you're using the ball of twine, just tie a knot on. And then what you do is you get one of your branches. I'm just going to bend down that little pointy part there. Get one of your branches and rest it down. Ben, can the counter be seen in the camera here, yeah? Yeah. So rest your frame on the table, and then using either your ball of wool or your twine, then just start wrapping it. You need to pull it real tight, okay? Start wrapping it around the base, and then just mold the branch into place there. You see, wherever, like obviously it's going to stick out. Now you could make these ring frames a lot larger by using 2 co-hangers as in a third co-hanger and joining it up, you see, to make using that same technique of the 2 hooks joined together. And you could make your outside circle that little bit larger, which the one I'm actually going to demonstrate on today, I have got a larger base made for doing that. But this is just to show you what you can get made out of just the 2 co-hangers. Now, when I ran out of the first branch, I just overlapped the second branch onto the frame. And again, with the reel wire or your ball of wool or your twine, you can see the way I'm just wrapping this around nice and gentle. You don't have to pull it real tight. And then where your branch starts to stick out, just kind of like mold it in onto your base and then pull the wire just that extra little bit tighter around it. Now where I'm running out again, you can just get your second or your third branch in my case, slightly overlap it, and again around you go. So if we have any questions there, Ben, anybody want
Yeah, we're getting loads of hearts and loads of shares.
Oh, so that's what we want, loads of hearts and loads of shares. The sharing is really what we want. I love the hearts as well. And I really appreciate the way yesterday and the day before everybody shared the live videos that I did. Really appreciate it. You don't realise, because obviously the school is closed and we don't have people going onto the website inquiring about classes and so on. Well, there's a thing called SEO, Search Engine Optimization. And what happens is when people then stop visiting your website, you know what I mean, Google starts to move you down in the charts. So what I need you to do is, by you keep sharing our posts on Facebook, it makes Google move us back up again. And the other thing is, just around to the beginning here. Now, if you'd like to make your frame a little bit chunkier, you can get extra branches. And again, you can just add them in on top of the previous ones. And when you get good at this, you could actually put the 2 branches on at the same time. So can you see the way I'm adding on the branches there, just to make it a little bit chunky? I'm just at the end of that branch, so then I'm just going to overlap another little bit of greenery, and around I go. These can actually look really well, even just to hang on your door on their own. Make them a lot chunkier now than what I'm actually doing here today. But they're costing you nothing. 2 co-hangers, a little bit of wool or twine to attach it, and a few branches of foliage. And where the Q-Press lasts for ages, you could use other types of foliage that you happen to have in your garden, but obviously they're not going to last as long. Now when you get to the end, all you do, if it's the wool or the twine that you're using, cut it and just tie a knot. If you're using the reel wire, just cut the reel wire, and the raw piece of wire that's left over, stick that back down into the frame. Now, as I said, I made a larger frame using extra co-hangers, you know that way, just to kind of show you, just for the door reach, it does look nicer if it's that little bit larger. And then it was Deirdre, you know, anybody that has seen my back garden before, my garden is absolutely tiny. It's not even a garden, it's more of a patio area. I've been doing my exercise classes there at night time, not that you'd know, I'm eating like a pig here. But it's really, really tiny, and I don't have a great selection of foliage growing. So Deirdre yesterday, she picked all the greenery, put it into a bag. I done the kind of like the drive past real fast, stopped the car, grabbed the 2 plastic bags of greenery and booted back home again. Wasn't stopped by the guards because it would have been a little bit more than 2 kilometres. But I suppose it was essential because I wouldn't have been able to do the class this morning if we hadn't got it. So in the bag, Deirdre had some red robins. So she has lots of this growing. She also had some of the, the ceanothus that gets the purple flower like later on in the year. She had some of the viburnum, which is in flower at the moment. So some of you might actually have the viburnum grown in your own garden. And she also added in some of the black pittosporum. So that was the selection that Deirdre gave me. Although there was a bit of ivy as well. I used up some of the ivy in the bunches. So suggestions that you could use at home yourself. Anybody that has any euonymus or hebes or the green pittosporum, they would work out fine. Laurel, if you're doing it on the bigger ring, the laurel will work out great and laurel lasts for ages. On the smaller ring, the laurel might be a little bit too large, the leaf on it. The mini laurel, that would work out grand. And anybody that's watching, especially anybody that's interested in gardening and horticulture, they may have a lot more suggestions of foliage that you could use than I'm even suggesting here today. So feel free, comment below. What I want is people interacting with each other, have a little chat, make new friends, because you can see already, like you're getting to know each other by commenting on the group. And actually when I'm thinking about it, there was a girl messaged me yesterday, can't think of her name, but I do have her contact details. And she lives in Rathfarnham up near Marley Park. And she cut down an olive tree yesterday. Now olive foliage is very, very expensive to buy in, and it would be absolutely gorgeous in these door wreaths. And she just was saying, well, she was offering it to myself if I was interested to drive up and collect it, but I wouldn't have needed a lot of it, to be honest. A small bit would have been nice going through the wreath here today. But I did say I'd announce it, so if anybody maybe lives up 2 kilometres around near Marley Park and is interested in getting the olive foliage, be absolutely gorgeous, just to make your door wreath completely all foliage, the same type, not using the selections I'm using today. So what I did with all the branches of greenery that Deirdre gave me was I just cut them all up into short little sections. I just see there's a little spider running around my worktop here. Deirdre, there was spiders in that greenery. And I just kind of like bunched them all together and added in the little viburnum kind of like last. And I made all these small little bunches. And then I got some wires. Now I made a trip over to the school the other day to get some of the materials. And I accidentally picked up 22 gauge wires instead of 20 gauge wires. So the 22 is the light gauge. The heavier gauge would have been much better for the other things I need to be using the wire for. But for making up these bunches, the light wire, well, like your bit of twine would have been grand. And you can see there, I'm just wrapping the wire around to the little bunches, and that just makes it easier for me. So on the table here in front of me, I have about 20 bunches made up. So that's what delayed me starting here this morning, because I had to get all this organised. Because I knew if anything went wrong today, I don't know whether Ben will be able to get me out of a hole or not, where always I can depend on Deirdre. Well, should we see anyway? Hopefully nothing will go wrong, and hopefully we won't have to call on him. So, any questions so far, Deirdre?
Yes.
Keep going to call you Deirdre. Ben.
So we have a few questions here.
Okay.
So
what's happening?
Emily is asking, would fresh flowers work or just foliage?
Fresh flowers would be gorgeous, and if you've watched any of my previous videos, I have shown how to do this in complete hydrangeas. Now the only thing is the hydrangeas haven't come into flower in the garden yet, so but later on in another couple of months I definitely will do them again. But if you follow us on YouTube, you'll find that video and you'll be able to look at it. But you can also add in flowers. Just to show you, do you remember on Monday, I'm going off camera for a second there, sorry. On Monday, I did a live showing about changing your water and sterilising your vases. And yesterday morning when I was on live, I said I was going to the supermarket to top up the wine rack. We started on it again last night. But when I was up in the supermarket, they had bunches of daffodils. Now daffodils is something we very rarely buy into the school, because when you're buying them in wholesale, you have to buy 50 bunches, and it's not really a flower we use at the school. But up in Super Value in Kimmage yesterday, they had 2 bunches for €2, basically €1 a bunch for 5 flowers. So I bought them, and they were a lot tighter yesterday. They've opened up really well. And I just replaced a little bit of ribbon around the bottles with a little bit of green kind of gingham ribbon. There was a pink ribbon on these previously, and I just cut the daffodils short. So that's the little gift box that Ben and David and Jessica bought me for Mother's Day like nearly 2 weeks ago. And I had got little bunches of flowers in them, but I've now replaced it with the daffodils. The scent off them is gorgeous, and it's just so cute it is. Even Ben said this morning, God, he said that's lovely. So just to heat my kitchen, opened up the daffodils. But you could add in the daffodils into your little bunches. Now the only thing is they're not going to last out water. And tulips would be absolutely gorgeous as well, but again, they're not going to last out water. But what you would need is the little water vials. Now again, if there was a flower shop open near you, you'd be able to buy the water vials off them. But this, with shops being closed, and I don't think it's something that people might have around the house. But if you do have the water vials, just place each flower into a water vial, and then when you're making up the little bunch, your water vial will be down here, and just wrap the wire or the twine around it and be absolutely perfect. But flowers like hydrangeas, they would last out water, or wax flowers, solidaster, gyp, any of them sort of flowers, they'd all last out of water and be perfect for making this kind of flowery. But I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible, using material from your garden, and hopefully that's not going to cost an awful lot of money. Anything else?
No, we have no more questions, but we have people watching all around the world, all over Ireland.
Hopefully everybody's keeping safe at home, and hopefully nobody has been affected by anybody in their family catching that coronavirus. It's absolutely, it's just terrible. Like every day watching the news, it's just awful. So hopefully everybody stays at home, stay safe. And I know there is people watching, and they have people on the front line, their family and their friends that have no choice but to go out to work. And God, we definitely applaud them, give them all a big clap, fair play to them. So what I'm going to do now is attach my wire or your hand-tied twine, which you can't find on the table there. So using your twine or your wool again, you can then attach it on. If you're using the wool or the twine, just tie a knot around it. If you're using the real wire, all you have to do is just wrap the wire around it once or twice in the one spot, and there it is attached, ready to go. Now, if your bunches are all made up, I've made up 20 bunches, so hopefully you have enough made up. What you're going to do is get each little bunch and you just place it onto your frame, like so. And then you get your real wire. Now it's easier to do this flat on the table, right? But I'll just do it up in the air so you can see it. You get your real wire, and just around the end of the bunches where the wire is wrapped around it, you then just wrap that around 2 or 3 times in the one spot. Now a little trick then is move your wire or your twine on about another inch or so, and then you get your second bunch and you slightly overlap the bunch that you've already placed on, and the same idea is you wrap the wire around that 2 or 3 times, and the little secret is move down about another inch or so with your wire, and then you're ready for your third bunch. You can catch that little bit of red robin in as well, and that slightly overlaps, and around that goes. So you can see that's how you get the greenery onto the base. Now often if I'm doing this in the school, I wouldn't have all the bunches made up. I just kind of lay all the stuff on the table and then just kind of make the bunches as I go along. And to be honest, for speed, you'll get it done much faster. But just for the video, I kind of found I'd be fumbling around a lot and messing, trying to pick up the bunches of greenery, and especially being on my own and only having my junior assistant here today, I said I'd have all the bunches made up. So when I'm making this here today, you might say to yourself, God, she's flying through this. But the work really was in making all the little bunches beforehand. Now a lot of you are working at home this week, or you're stuck at home is the wrong word, safe at home is the right word. And you're at home and you have kids. So why not get the kids involved and let them even go around the garden and pick out little bunches of greenery themselves. Don't be worrying if the greenery is not going to last or it's the wrong type. And let them make the little bunches themselves. So give them balls of wool, cut up some strings for them, and let them attach, make all their own little bunches. And then they could then attach them onto one of the frames that you made with your co-hanger. To be honest, if you hadn't even made, say you had your co-hanger base made, I don't have a second co-hanger here now. So if you had your co-hanger base made and you hadn't put the Q press onto it, so you hadn't even got to this stage here, there's nothing to stop you just placing the bunches straight onto the co-hanger. Now it's a little bit more difficult, excuse me, but it does work, that way. So again, if you're stuck, make do. So just to show you, this is how our wreath is turning out so far. So the viburnum flower in it does add to it, and that'll dry it. It'll shed slightly, that way. But sure, Ben is on the hoovering this week in our house, so we're grand. The state of the house, oh my God, have to get in. After I said, we were going to hoover yesterday, and I said, no, leave it till after today's demonstration, because I said, I knew I was going to make a mess. But the great thing about working at home here today, my bin is just here. So it's great, I'm able to just sweep off the greenery and just throw it straight into the bin. Where normally when I'm in the class, I'm a devil for just sweeping all that onto the floor, So I think, Deirdre, we'll try and get one of these bins in the school. It'd be absolutely brilliant. So any more questions there, Ben, or how's everybody getting on, or any news or any scandal?
Well, Bernie's saying your junior is doing a brilliant job, which is nice to know.
Bernie down in Port Arlington. Hey, Bernie, thanks a million for tuning. He's not bad, I have him well trained. Gave him a few belts this morning before we started, just to make sure now that he'd done the right job.
Jenny Lawler saying, hi Janette, hope you're keeping well. Love
Hey,
this
Jen,
arrangement.
How are you?
Love the
so
colours.
So simple, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And like it's costing absolutely nothing to make. Now I'm just coming up to my last 1 or 2 bunches. So when you get to that stage, what you need to do is lift up the very first bunch that you started with. So there's my first bunch I started with. So lift that one up slightly and then tuck the ends of your last bunches kind of in underneath it. And then this is where I call it the wiggle and wangle technique. So with your wire, rather than just kind of coming across straight away, wiggle it in through the branches of greenery that you're not flattening down what you previously put down. I'm going to get another bunch now, just add that in there. So just to show you what it'll look like when I get the last bunch in. It's hard then to actually tell the difference where I actually started or where I finished. So as I said, the trick is to wiggle the wire in and out through the greenery so that you don't kind of flatten it down. And then I'm just coming past that little bit, again, a little bit of wiggling and wangling. There we go. Just kind of move our coat hanger around a little bit. And I'd be happy enough, that's what it looks like so far, using all the greenery out of the garden. It has a bit of an oblong shape, my coat hanger. It's not that circular. I have to sack my dad, he didn't make a great circle, but it'll do the job. So I'm going to cut my wire that's left over, and the little bit of surplus wire that's left, I'm going to stick that back down into the frame. But again, if you're using the twine or the wool, just going to try and squeeze this in a little bit. If you're using the twine or the wool, you could just tie a double knot. Some of the larger leaves of the red robin that's coming into the inside of the ring, I'm just giving that a little bit of a trim off. And there we go. Just to tidy that up a bit. I'll open up my magic drawer, throw all my rubbish in. Oh my God, this is so different to me in the school. And there's our wreath ring ready to hang on the door. Now what you can then do is decorate it. So I had 20 bunches made up and I had 4 left over. So that took 16 good bunches, and that was on the larger one. Where you can see on the smaller one, which is much smaller, like it would take a lot less bunches, you see, to kind of go around it. So again, you could make a smaller ring, and if you liked, you could then hang the 2 rings together. So you could have like a smaller ring and you could have them draped together, and that would make, again, an alternative sort of door swag, door arrangement, door wreath arrangement. We're not going to do that, I haven't got enough bunches made up. So, to decorate it, so I had a couple of ribbons in the school and I brought them home with me. So these were ones, we bought in lots of these ribbons for the Easter wreath class, which should have started tonight. But should we have them all for next year? We're ready, we'll be all so prepared for next year. So what I'm going to do, now again, I prefer to use the 20 gauge wire. I've only got the 22 here in the house, which is a little bit lighter. So it'll be a bit more difficult for me to stick them down into the frame. So the bow I'm going to make is what we call the collar bow. So to make the collar bow, it's as if you were wrapping the ribbon around your neck and crossing it under your chin. What I often call like the breast cancer bow, like that's the effect of the bow. And you bring the back of the ribbon in level with the front of the bow where it's crisscrossed. And then what you do is you squeeze that in nice and tight. You get your wire, you wrap your wire around it, or do you know, if you had a piece of string, it would do the same job, because it would just mean then that you would tie the bow on rather than actually wiring it on. A little bit of a twist there just to hold it. I can open it out, just move my wire more to the back, and there you can see that's my single collar version of the bow. One loop is a bit bigger than the other. Have to be a bit neater the second time. The double version of that bow is a little bit more difficult, but I do have a lot of blogs on my blogs page on the website. So go to the website, which is flowerschoolisland.com, go along the buttons along the top, find the button that says blogs, click on it, and then you will see lots of tutorials on how to make all the different types of bows. And I call this bow the double collar bow or the double figure 8 bow. So again, to make a larger version of it, I'm just going to cut off a long piece of ribbon. Ben is laughing away there, so I don't know who's commenting or what's happening.
Yeah, we've got a few comments from everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bombini is saying, adore this, looks so fab. Can I have a lend of your garden, please, Janette?
No, you have to come to Deirdre's garden, Jenny. It's Deirdre's garden that has, this is all Deirdre's garden. It's only my kitchen and Deirdre's garden. So to make the double version of the bow is you need a longer piece of ribbon, and this time you start over at the side. So again, you're making your collar bow, and you're grabbing the back part of the bow and you're bringing it in level to the front. So as you can see, it's very similar to how I've done the single one. But just the difference is I have this long piece of ribbon left over. So with the longer piece of ribbon that's left over, you fold it up to make a third loop, and you fold it back down again to make a fourth loop. And then you catch it in the centre and you gather that in nice and tight, squeeze it in there as tight as you can, and then you can either use a string, piece of wool, piece of twine, or a wire to wrap it around the centre, to hold the middles together. I just wrap one wire around the other, and then you can go back and you can open out your loops just to give them a little bit more body. Now, the accessories that I'm going to add into this, you know Deirdre, she's a dibble for going on Amazon and Etsy and Wreath. So for the past few months, even before Christmas, she was on and she was ordering all these little gadgets in. Again, we had these all bought in for the Easter class. So she had lovely little daffodils, she had all these little eggs, she had there was a chicken as well, can't see where there was a chicken as well. And also she'd ordered in these little signs that says Happy Easter on them. But when she bought them in, they just came all natural wood. So that's how she bought them in. They were just plain, like there was a little bit of sketching on them, but no colour on them. And then Cara, her little one, who was obviously home from school, Cara got in and painted them all. So these are all little hand-painted signs. And next Easter, when we're doing the Easter class, all the students will be spoiled rotten with all hand-painted Easter little gadgets for putting into their arrangements and their spring door wreaths. But the little eggs, they all came that colour as well. So Deirdre is watching the video today, making sure I'm doing it right. So maybe she'll put the link up in the comments below the site if she can still remember. So what I just prepared there earlier on is I just did the little chicken there. I just stuck a wire through them all. You see the way, just to kind of like hold them all kind of in place, and that's for just attaching. But like if you're not interested, if there's no kids in the house or you're not interested in adding these in, you can just leave it all natural. It's absolutely fine. But I do have a selection of these little eggs and chickens and Happy Easter signs that I'm going to add in. But also, I was in Dunnes Stores, Stephen's Green Shopping Centre, all about 6-8 weeks ago, way before this virus hit Ireland. And they had this little garland of eggs, and it was €10 it was. So that was the length of it. Hopefully you can see it all there. So that was the length of it, and for €10. And at the time when I seen it, I said that would be lovely for putting around our door wreath. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it onto the door wreath, just cutting some of this twine off here at the end. No, I'm going to leave this twine. No, I am going to cut it off. So cut this off. I'm going to, around the eggs, in between the little piece of twine there, I'm just going to add on a wire. Now how you add these on is you stick your wire down through your base. There we go. And where the wire comes through the other end, so just hold this up that you can see where the wire comes through the other end, just do what we call like a hairpin bend and stick it back down or back upwards into your base. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of go around the base, and then here and there I'm just going to get a little wire, and this time it'll be easier for me now to just hook the wire around that bit of twine in between the eggs. Stick it back down into the base. I'm just doing this very casual. Like you don't want this kind of like real neat or real organised. So just here and there, I'm just kind of catching the little garland in place, just to make it kind of like very Eastery, kind of festive looking. So, anybody watching then, or what's happening, or any questions so far? Remember, if you're watching and you do have any questions, comment below. If Ben doesn't see it, I'll get back later on and I'll definitely answer all the messages. And also, remember on Friday morning, we're planning on doing a Q&A, questions and answers. So a lot of you have been messaging me, but feel free to put the questions in the comments below as well on questions that you would like me to answer. So the most popular one so far seems to be about VAT. A lot of people asking about VAT. A lot of people asking about like if you were opening their own business, about registering their names. A lot of people asking about wholesalers and trade cards. What was the other questions I was getting? Oh, people that were self-employed were asking about the government funding or government wages. There's a lot of information about that kind of around. But again, I can kind of go through that and give a little bit of information that we have kind of found out ourselves. That is the great thing about anybody that is working for themselves, is this time round with this pandemic, that the government are looking after the self-employed, where normally the self-employed get absolutely nothing. So it's not a huge amount of money, I understand, but sure, it's better than feck all, as I call it. So like, it is good that we're getting something to keep us going. put bread on the table. Oh my God, bread. I said to Ben the other day, I said, will you stop buying bread? Every time I look, we're eating more bread. Now the garland is a little bit too long, so I'm just cutting a bit off. And then I'm just going to put an extra little wire here and there just to kind of secure this a little bit more in place. And then I'll hold it up and I'll just give you an idea what that's going to look like. So you can see it's fairly casual, the eggs, and they're going to move around on it, you know what I mean, as I turn it around. So it's like not caught securely, but I have extra decorations to put into it. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the bows. So I made a couple of bows in different colours. So I have like a little small pink one, I have a larger pink one, I made a lilac one, there's our lilac one, and I made a green one. So again, it's just kind of picking up the colours and shades that I'll be using in our decorations. So I'm starting off with the larger bow first. I'm picking a point on the wreath where I want to place this bow. Now you find with your bow, you can have your bow at the top of your wreath, like say I'm doing here, or you can turn the bow around and you can have it that it's at the bottom of your wreath. Now I found for this Christmas what I did was I kept most of my bows at the bottom of the door wreath instead of at the top, just for change. Just last year I kept all the bows at the top, so this year just to do something different, I'm keeping all the bows at the bottom. So I'm just layering them all here now. I've added in the lilac one, now I'm going to add in the green one. Now these could be bits of ribbons that you happen to have around the house. I know you might have started getting Easter eggs yet, but sometimes when you get Easter eggs, there's lovely ribbons wrapped around the boxes, or maybe left over from Christmas. You would have some boxes of chocolates and there was ribbons kind of wrapped around them. Or maybe, what else? Sometimes when you get a gift set of perfumes or soaps, I know like Joe Malone does, but even like with the Aldi candles or the Aldi soap sets, you often get like some ribbons kind of like wrapped around the box, which looks quite nice. So hold on to all them little bits of ribbon, and they're do great for making up your little bows. So there I've just kind of like layered our bows at the bottom, just like lots of colours, keeping this nice and colourful and nice and spring looking. So if you've only got one colour, it's absolutely fine. So now I'm going to add in a couple of the little accessories. So our little eggs, so there's some blue eggs here. So again, just random, I'm sticking the wire down into the base, making a little hairpin bend at the back as I call it, and stick the wire back up into the frame. So like no particular pattern, just here and there, I'm just going to add in these little decorations. So it's definitely keeping it very spring themed, Easter themed. And here's Cara's little hand painted ornaments going into it now so far. So again, just to hold it up that you can see what it's looking like. Now, we would love anybody that is going to make some of these at home yourself, definitely post the photographs. And Deirdre was talking about it yesterday and she said, what about running a competition for like a door wreath? Now the door wreath can be something your kids do, so you know if you are, there's Ben sneezing in the background, if you are getting your kids involved, make sure when you post a photograph that you tell us it was a child did it and what age they were, because you know we always try and have a little surprise for the kids. It doesn't have to be flowers, it doesn't have to be greenery, like you can use like any material yourself. Like I seen somebody had up on their page there, not on it wasn't anybody I knew, it was just a random page on Facebook, and it's where they made like door wreaths, but they had crocheted all the flowers or knitted all the flowers, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. And that's what gave us the idea. We said like just kind of make it open for everybody to get involved. It doesn't have to be flowers, doesn't have to be fresh greenery, like any sort of spring wreath at all that you'd like to decorate your own door. Your kids would love to add on to the door. As I said, get the kids involved. So I'm not sure what the prize is going to be, because I suppose it will depend on who the winner is going to be. Is it an adult or is it a child? But definitely get posting, and will we set up I know Deirdre can't answer me, but I'm wondering will she set up a separate thread for it, or will we just get you to randomly put them up on the page? Probably we'll get a thread set up and keep them all maybe together, so that way then it'll be easier to kind of like for judging and picking a winner. Just want to have a quick look at this. Probably just do one or two more ornaments just around down this corner here, just to kind of finish that off. I do have a couple of the little eggs, so what I'm just going to do is I've just cut up, this is just the 3 eggs that was left off the garland, so I'm just going to wire the little bit of twine that's kind of coming out the end of them, just doing like a little hairpin bend, wrapping it around, put this thread a little bit shorter, and then I just add in these extra couple of eggs. And do you know what I might do? I might add one of the eggs into the middle of my bow as well. So just catch the wire around this. Just add this in here, little pink eggs. So I'm just going to add it in just where my bows are. You find with the lighter wire, it buckles up and it bends and it doesn't go down through the frame as easy. And saying that's not too bad, but if this was moss, it'd be very difficult to get it down through it. These ones have a little bit of gold on them. So do you know what, you could nearly add them in for Easter, or for Christmas I was going to say, Easter, Christmas, getting all my occasions mixed up. And there we've one more, we'll stick this one in over here. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you learned, you got a few tips and you got a few tricks for it. Hopefully the kids will get involved and they'll enjoy making it. And as I said, if you don't want to make it as fun as I've done here today with all the colours and keeping it really kind of like happy and spring looking, you can just keep it natural with your fresh greenery or just add in your fresh flowers. So don't forget about our Q&A on Friday. Not sure about the time. It'll probably be late in the day. Do you know what I find? Is everybody's, well, I'm sleeping later. I don't know about you. I'm sleeping that little bit later. Do you know the last thing I forgot? It's just a little hanger for hanging it on the door. So just a long piece of ribbon. And just up through the top here, I'm going to hook this piece of ribbon in underneath the pieces of greenery until it just kind of hooks around. So you can see there's my 2 pieces of ribbon coming through. Going to tie a double knot with them. Pull that knot nice and tight. Cut the little raw pieces off. Wind back my ribbon that my knot now is hidden at the back. And there's your little hanger to hang onto your knockers and hang that on your door. So probably have to hang that on my own door. I know Deirdre's probably watching saying Cara would love this. But your Cara, if you're down this way, you can just rub it off the hall door and you can bring it home and hang it on your hall door. So, have anybody else any questions there, Ben, before we finish up?
No, everyone's very impressed.
What does everybody think about Ben? Did you do a good job today? Will we sack Deirdre?
Yeah.
Ben's giving me the thumbs up here. If you're looking for your wages, Deirdre, we'll have to put him on the COVID-19 pandemic unemployment benefit. Thanks a million, everybody, for watching. Hope you enjoyed that demonstration. And as I said, anybody that's making up stuff at home, feel free, post photographs, interact with each other. If anybody is interested in that olive greenery, the girl up in Rathfarnham, just send me a message and I can send you on her details and you can contact her direct. And remember, you need to be about 2 kilometres from Marley Park so that you can go and you can collect it. Anybody that has any questions or suggestions for our Q&A, get yourself organised, because it'd be great for me on Friday if I have a lot of questions ready that I'm not waiting on Ben to say, okay, what's the next question or what's the next question. So kind of start posting your questions now so I'll kind of know what topics then that I'm going to be covering. And then while the live is going on, obviously you can join in and you can ask any more questions as well. Ben is laughing there. Is somebody sacking you or praising you?
Yeah, Julie saying, well done, Ben. Deirdre, watch that space.
Listen, goodbye everybody, and thanks a million for watching. Have a great day. Stay home and stay safe.